as you know, in the banking system right now, everybody's talking about the failed bank and perhaps more failed banks to come here in the future. So the question is, what happens if your tax lien certificate fails? Okay, what happens if you make a mistake, or what happens if that tax lien holder doesn't pay you back your interest rate? So first off, I'm sure at this point, a failed bank can be very bad if you have a lot of money in that bank. So first off, the FDIC insures you up to $250,000. So anything above 250 grand, well, you're going to be insured on that. So what if you have more than that tied up in the bank? Well, first off, if the bank goes completely under and insolvent, well, you're screwed. You're out of luck. However, a lot of the times the government will come in and bail out the bank. So we don't know if that's going to happen here in this situation or not. But one of the things that has happened with the recent bank failure is that the bank has taken your money and invested into some longer term assets that they couldn't quite go ahead and liquidate to get back the bank's money. So basically they had a run on the bank and they can't go ahead and give their lenders back their money. So here's the irony of all of this is a lot of banks are actually one of the largest investors in tax lien certificates. So they're taking your money and then they're going ahead and they're investing in tax lien certificates while they're giving you next to nothing and making a nice interest rate from tax lien certificates. So this would probably even be an example, or it is an example of, say, a bank goes and takes your money on deposit and then they buy tax liens. They're going to have to wait, 1 to 2 years to recoup that money. So if all the depositors come back and want their money, the bank can't give it to them because that money's in a tax lien certificate. So, at the end of the day, what I love about tax liens is they're safe, secure, and predictable. And it's more about getting the confidence to go and do this business. Okay. So, first off, one of the things that's happening that's a big problem with this bank failure is you have a lot of these startups who have like their money in this bank. And now all of a sudden payroll comes around and they can't make payroll. So that's a huge problem for the bank. And there's going to be a chain reaction to where we don't know the depths of. However, one thing is for sure, if you have a worst case scenario with your tax lien certificate, it's one of the only worst case scenarios where the worst case scenario is the best case scenario. And this is how you truly get those properties for pennies on the dollar. So if your tax lien certificate fails to pay you your interest rate, that's when you can foreclose and it wipes out the mortgages and it wipes out all of the liens above it. So that's why a worst case scenario with a tax lien is a best case scenario for you.